Hello YouTube and welcome to Prime Productions. I'm here to help enhance your tabletop gaming experience. So, let's talk about Starfinder. For those who don't know, Starfinder is a role-playing game made by Paizo, the same people that make Pathfinder. It takes place in the same universe as Pathfinder, but years in the future where interstellar travel is common and everyone has laser guns. Now, don't get me wrong, magic still exists too. The game is very much space fantasy, kind of like Star Wars or Warhammer 40k in that there is both advanced technology and some supernatural energies. So it's looking like mid-July of 2024 we'll see the release for the playtest of Starfinder 2nd Edition, which is about 2 months away as of the posting of this video. And you know what? I'm stoked, I'm hyped, I'm really excited, and I think you should be too. Even if you aren't that into Starfinder, and I'm going to tell you why. But first, like, a tiny bit of background? So, I like Starfinder. I like Starfinder's themes, plots, and ideas. There's a lot of fun stuff to play around with, such as Starship Troopers-style bug monsters, evil totalitarian space armies, and political intrigue. The whole works. But there is a problem. See, Starfinder 1 was released in between Pathfinder 1 and Pathfinder 2, and it uses its own rules system. Now, the rule system isn't completely unique. It is still based on the tried and true method of roll d20, add modifiers, try to beat a certain number. But it has its own way of dealing with the action economy and multiple attacks and generating target numbers for difficulty, and it just does not work. At least not at higher levels. I won't get into the details, but just know that when the system was first released, it was actually impossible for the best pilot in the universe to pilot some of the better ships in the universe. Seriously, the difficulty checks for the highest level ships in Starfinder 1 was 20 above what a pilot could possibly achieve, so even if they rolled a nat 20 on their piloting check, they would still fail. Oh, Starfinder doesn't have that rule that says a nat 20 bumps you up one success level. That nat 20 still fails that starship roll. Now, Paizo did eventually release an errata that fixed the system, but that was just one of Starfinder's many problems. So, imagine my jubilation when it was announced that Starfinder 2nd Edition would come out, and it would be using the rules for Pathfinder 2e, or at least a slight modification of them. The Pathfinder 2e system seems to largely work. Yes, it has its problems, but it seems to work a majority of the time. Players, by and large, aren't so powerful that they trivialize combat, but aren't overwhelmed by impossible odds for the most part. So I'm happy to see that Starfinder, a game with fun ideas, is going to get a system that works. But let's say you don't care about the setting of Starfinder. Why should you be hyped? Well, I've got 3 reasons for you. Firstly, while Starfinder 2 is mostly going to be using Pathfinder 2e stuff, they are implementing some slight changes, new rules, and subsystems, and many of these subsystems can be backwards compatible to become optional rules in Pathfinder 2e. There are sure to be a lot of fun and interesting Starfinder subsystems that you could work with. As an example, rules for starship combat might be able to be reverse engineered to naval or even airship combat rules for Pathfinder 2e. One of my favorite ideas was released in this early preview of the Starfinder Soldier class. It's explained that advanced weapons cannot accept potency or striking runes. Instead, you can build or upgrade existing weapons to just be better, more accurate, and more damaging. Take this item level 0 laser pistol here. Costs 30 credits, which is the equivalent of 3 gold pieces, does a d6 damage, yada yada yada. However, the level 2 version, the tactical laser pistol, has the tracking +1 trait, meaning it is more accurate and gives the user a +1 to hit. And the level 4 version is tracking +1 and does 2d6 damage, exactly as if it was a +1 striking laser pistol. Cost is the same too. A +1 striking weapon is 100 GP or 1,000 silver pieces, and in Starfinder a credit is worth 1 silver piece. And you can upgrade weapons to higher level weapons by just paying the difference. I really like this as an optional rule, and I would love to see it ported back into a Pathfinder game as a house rule. True, it means you can't pull fundamental runes out of weapons and put them onto your other weapons, and that is going to make some people balk. I get it. But it also means you can craft powerful weapons without needing to get the magical crafting feat. It also just brings back the idea of a masterwork weapon, which I really like. I like the idea of having your master swordsmith character needing to forge the most powerful katana in the world in order to defeat the dragon instead of just yanking out any old +3 potency rune out of some 1,000-year-old blade and slapping it onto the first rusty dagger you find. Now, I understand that this rule won't be for every table, but I see potential there. And that's just one rule. Starfinder is sure to offer a lot more systems and subsystems to play around with. But moving on to the second reason you should be hyped, well, that's easy. There are 6 new character classes coming out and a slew of new ancestries, and all of them should be more or less backwards compatible with Pathfinder 2e. So far, 3 Starfinder classes have had early previews: the Soldier, Mystic, and Envoy. A Soldier is a solid frontline fighter who focuses on using weapon traits to pin down enemies and give them penalties. They have a subclass called a Fighting Style for both melee and ranged combat, as well as a few others. Mystics are people who have an epiphany about some small philosophical underpinning of the universe. And that epiphany, I guess, lets them manipulate that part of the universe in the form of their spells. They appear to be a wisdom-based class that might be able to choose from any spell tradition, kinda like witches and sorcerers, with their epiphany relating to what spell tradition they know. Now, sure, there might need to be a few tweaks here and there when converting these classes back into Pathfinder 2e. In the early preview of the Envoy class, we see this subclass. Envoy subclasses are called leadership styles, by the way. Anyway, the hotshot leadership style makes the Envoy better at piloting starships, which is not a thing in Pathfinder 2, so you might have to change that up a bit. But several other leadership styles would work just fine, such as from the front or in the spotlight. Same thing goes for Ancestryes. There are a slew of new Ancestryes that Starfinder introduces. New Ancestryes like the Vesk, and while it is highly unlikely that you'd find an alien Vesk on Galarian in Pathfinder 2e's time, you could maybe reflavor them as a variant lizard folk if you just wanted to use your stats. Just check with your GM first. And even if you don't want to include aliens, there's going to be new heritages and ancestry feats for those ancestries that already exist in Pathfinder, such as humans, androids, and ratfolk, who are called Ysoki. But what if you don't want any of that? What if you don't care about new classes and ancestries? Well, good news, there's one final reason you should be hyped for Starfinder 2, and it has nothing to do with one new specific rule or class. It's more general than that. See, Starfinder, at its core, is a rule set for playing in a high-tech setting. A setting with both conventional firearms and laser guns. A setting with cars and jetpacks. A setting with computers and faster-than-light travel. And you know what you can do with that? Just about anything. Do you want to play a game in the Fallout franchise using the Pathfinder rule set? Just yank out the starship combat from Starfinder and set everything in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Do you want to play in a modern-day urban fantasy game? Keep the conventional firearms and yank out the laser guns, and there you go. Fan of steampunk? Replace all the circuits and electricity with gears and steam. From DuckTales to Dresden Files, Supernatural to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, if the setting involves modern technology and magic, you can probably do a pretty good version of it using the Starfinder rules. Just reflavor comlinks into cell phones or whatever. And that versatility has me very excited, and I hope it has you excited too. Anyway, that's it for today. Remember to check out my book, The NPC Omnibus, filled with 36 NPCs of creature levels -1 to 10 for Pathfinder 2e. Check it out at DriveThru RPG or PathfinderInfinite.com, and hey, leave a review if it's not too much trouble. It'd really help me out. But until then, like, comment, and subscribe. That tells not only me, but also YouTube that you like this kind of content and would like to see more. And until then, thank you, good luck, and happy gaming.